I am sensing people watching this will dislike this video.
Yeah.
Did I get it right?
Yeah, probably.
Hi and welcome to the Ruby Tuesday. My name is Ruben.
And I'm Kay.
And today we are reviewing Netflix's original, very controversial already series, The Goop Lab. Because I was interested in watching this for multiple reasons.
Yeah.
Because the topics I thought were interesting to see what people would have to say about them. I was also most interested because of the reaction, the very harsh reaction from people with the trailer. So apart from YouTube's yearly review, which is like the most disliked video of all time, this trailer, I think, in comparison, 1,600 thumbs up and 17,000 dislikes. And so whatever people saw in this trailer, man, it
really triggered everyone.
People were triggered.
Yeah.
Angry.
Yeah.
That's not to say that you're not warranted, your anger. People can feel what they want to feel, but it interested me into seeing, okay, let's ask Netflix for the screeners. They sent it to us, and so these are our thoughts on these episodes.
Yeah. The first episode, to be honest, I didn't really get much out of it. I would probably just skip that one. Like, that didn't really appeal to me at all. I know that there have been drug trials, there have been lots of sort of medical testing using microdoses of LSD for PTSD and that sort of thing, and I know that there is stuff out there if you want to look into that, but it wasn't really something that I could have any frame of reference for, because I don't have enough money to go to a country where it's not regulated and pay some sort of guide to take me on a trip.
This first episode actually really angered me, and I didn't know if I was going to be able to watch the rest of the episodes, because there's this moment where they talk about, oh, wouldn't it be great if we could all just all go to the Bahamas? Wait, where were they?
Jamaica.
Let's go to Jamaica, a Jamaican island, and, you know, if we just rest, and it'd be so much better for everybody, and then take psychedelics. And I'd be like, damn straight, anybody that spends a week in the Bahamas is going to feel relaxed and better. Jamaica. I obviously want to go to the Bahamas.
Apparently you do.
Yeah. So anybody like on a beach, relaxing, fresh water in a beautiful atmosphere, like you're going to feel relaxed. You're going to feel better. But I don't know of many companies. You're probably going to be in the top 1% of companies that are able to take your workplace employees and say, yeah, have this. And,
let's go on a bonding retreat.
Let's bond together and take some LSD. And I was like,
it wasn't LSD that they took, just to be clear.
Yeah, it was. But they were talking about psychedelics as the topic, and it was like a percentage of controlled mushroom dosage. So I don't want to give them a bad name, but I am. This first episode really irritated me. Yeah. Anyway, moving on. Yes, Mr. Iceman.
Mr. Iceman. You see, now this actually contains some really interesting, really helpful information. We have someone in our family who struggles with anxiety disorder, and to see someone who has the same sort of panic attack disorder, to be able to breathe, to be able to learn to control their breathing, which studies have shown does actually have an impact on your autonomic nervous system, which is what controls your emotions.
People use breathing.
Breathing is a technique.
Like for runners, you know, physical attributes is a big part of your training. So it's not like pseudoscience.
Yeah, this is science.
Yeah.
And cold exposure therapy is also a well-documented science, actual science.
Again, sportsmen use cold therapy.
Totally. So that's actually given us a bit of inspiration that we're going to look into that, obviously do our own research. And I think maybe that's the key with this whole series. Take everything with a bucket load of salt.
Yeah.
And do your own research.
Yeah.
If you find something, if you see something in the program and you're like, that looked really interesting, that looked like something I might like to investigate, go for it, investigate. I mean, you've got the internet, you've got you can find pretty much anything on the internet, but also bear in mind, you can find people who are dead set against that thing and say that it's ruined their lives, and you'll find an equal, if not greater number of people who say, that thing is amazing and it totally saved my life. So, obviously bear that in mind.
I think everybody is different. Yeah. How medicine, how certain breathing techniques, will work differently for everybody. So take everything with a pinch of salt. Like you said, even the people that are so-called professionals, that's just one person saying one thing.
Yeah.
What they say isn't necessarily the truth. It may be a truth for a certain amount of people, but it isn't the truth.
Yeah, because we're all so different.
Yeah.
And our experience of life is so different as well.
But if you want to check out the Iceman, he's on YouTube. I've seen some of his videos. He's an incredible guy. He's gone through some horrific trauma himself. And to see him put that into practice and helping others, I think is something pretty cool.
Yeah. And he has so many Guinness Book of World Records under his belt. Like, you know, the guy is serious business.
Yeah. And then we have the vulva.
Yeah. The vulva. Vulva.
Vulva. Vulva.
The vulva. I found that episode really challenging. Really challenging. And it was good that we watched it together.
Yeah.
I think, I mean, it's hard for me to even express and articulate, you know, and I know that people are like, oh, you're just being a feminist. I'm not a feminist. I am so far. I'm not. I'm maybe an equalist, you know. But I do think that there is so much shame around female sexuality that, you know, even healthy, well-adjusted, married women who are in monogamous relationships will struggle in this area of female pleasure and female sexuality. And it is a myth that is perpetuated by the porn industry that it's not a problem. It's totally a problem. It's a huge problem. And I thought that they tackled this in a really sensitive way.
Yeah.
And yeah.
If you're squeamish, I guess I didn't class myself as a squeamish guy, but there were images that I was just like, whoa there, that's a full frontal. This is not to be watched with your kids.
No.
This is strictly adult.
Yeah.
Like there is vulva in your face. So bear that in mind.
Big close-ups.
Yeah. Multiple. And I think that's part of what they were trying to do, is not make it this big, like, oh, it's a vagina.
Vulva.
Vulva, sorry.
Not vagina.
Yeah, not vagina. I learned something. Yeah, so I thought it was well tackled. And then we have, moving on, so the energy one I had a real issue with. For me, this is pseudoscience. I know that there is more to the earth that meets the eye, depending on your religion, where you hail from. We come from Africa, so we know about witch doctors and like, you know, what they believe. We are Christians, so we believe spiritual things, but this seemed weird and wacky to me. Like the guy moving his hand and crossed, and the woman saying, "I just had an exorcism." I was like, "Don't joke about that." Yeah. I think people are going to have an issue with this episode. I think it's going to be an easy trigger. Yeah.
And I mean, let's just face it, we live in a society where you can get triggered by anything.
Yeah. I'm triggered by what you're saying right now.
I know you are. So how dare I? Oh, wow. Yeah, with diet and how what you put into your body can actually affect the systems within your body, and you can measure your biological age versus your chronological age.
This was probably the most science one that was speaking truth. We know about how good oils versus bad oils, but good fats and bad fats, you know, they were putting stuff into practice and seeing the results, which I thought was very interesting. And then lastly, we finished with everybody's a psychic, and again I was just like, no. So, some of the episodes I was just like, no. My skeptic brain was like, hell no, stop it. Some people will be open to it, you know, feel your vibrations. I shouldn't even be doing that, because that's unfair on unkind. People who are psychics, and I don't want to judge people, but that my skeptic guy comes out and like, no, bad.
Well, yeah, I'm probably less skeptical and have had some experiences of a spiritual nature, or of an alternate nature, I guess. It's like not the tangible here and now, or something else. I don't know. And I know a lot of people have, and maybe people are scared to talk about it. I don't know, because of the fact that you will get shut down.
Yeah.
And be like, don't be stupid.
I think that's true. So here's the thing I want to talk about this series. We've done a good breakdown, and I hope you don't mind us breaking it down. I think we needed to talk about the content, really, I don't think there's like a spoiler nature in this, so...
Yeah.
So we need to talk about the content before we can talk about the filming. As reviewers, we kind of needed to, for this series particularly, we needed to go, was it well made, and what is the content about? So you know what the content is about, and you can love it or hate it. I think the show itself is made fairly well as a documentary series. I guess it's a documentary series.
Is it a documentary, though? I think that was one of the issues we had with it, was like, what is it? Yeah. What is it for?
Yeah.
What's it for?
Who does this appeal to? You commented earlier, and I think that was like on the nose. For the people who made this, them watching this will go, oh, that's really cool. We look good on camera. We've edited this well. We come out great. We did something pretty cool, and with our lives. It's going to be very hard for people to be able to relate to this, especially if you're not in that top rich area.
Or even have any possibility of having the same kind of experiences that they've had.
Yeah.
You know, you need to have a certain earning bracket. You need to be working in a particular locality in the world. You need to...
Or a work environment that has yoga classes. You know, that's a very unusual thing.
We all want that, but most of us don't get that.
Yeah. So I think the idea is interesting. Also, it's very self-indulgent because it's a lot about them, and it's also really padded long. So I'm saying it's well made, but they could have cut out a lot of content about themselves, about the extra talking, just going over content again, the same stuff they're saying, because there's actually only a little bit of real stuff that they're talking about, but then they're really padded out long.
You know, I didn't feel that.
Oh, I did, yeah.
I didn't feel that, but I did feel like they were talking about themselves, obviously, because they were the ones who were having these experiences. So they needed to explain to us why it was significant. But yeah.
I got nothing against Goop or Gwyneth Paltrow. I think each to their own. You want to go and do something fashion. They're trying to experiment and live healthily and be open to things. That's great. I think if you do this sort of thing, you need to do it, if you're on drugs, medication, you need to do it with your doctor's consent. So
Absolutely.
There was one person that was having a benefit from doing her breathing techniques, but then she was consulting her psychiatrist to come off her medication slowly. So that is the correct way to do it.
Yeah.
You don't then watch something like this and go, right, I'm going to take some mushrooms, I'm going to go and see some sort of weird spiritual healer.
And I'm going to breathe really, really fast until I hyperventilate, and then I'm just going to not take my medication.
That is
Don't do that.
That is not FDA approved.
Well, no.
But at the same time, at one point, we did think the Earth was flat.
Yeah. You know, science is one of those frontiers that is a frontier. It's constantly moving, it's constantly evolving, it's constantly changing. And unfortunately, the groundbreaking, the sort of cutting edge of where the new discoveries are being made only filters back to the general population about 30 years later. So we're about 30, in our thinking, we're about 30 years behind where science has actually already progressed to. So there's quantum physics, there's stuff that I couldn't begin to understand that is actual real
Even talking
stuff.
about the physics of real particles, that is energy that we can see affect the real world. Like, that's all proven now, but if you tell somebody that, it just sounds like hooey.
Yeah.
And then you try and tell somebody that actually affects your body, you're like, what are you talking about, your fruitcake? And I get it, because it does sound weird.
Totally
because
sounds
we
weird.
haven't caught up in our thinking yet.
Yeah.
So
who knows? I guess that's the answer.
So we've tried to dissect this areas of what we felt. We can understand why people got upset in the trailer, but I think you need to judge for yourself. And then if you still hate it, go for it. Dislike to your heart's content, or just move on. If you don't like it, don't watch it.
You don't have to. You don't have to. The thing that frustrates me, I guess, is that people have watched the trailer, not watched any of the episodes, and already have judged it. You can't really judge it. I got a different impression from the trailer than the impression I got from watching the series.
Yeah.
So if you really, really hated it and you feel incredibly strongly about it, perhaps you need to watch it.
I mean,
or not.
This is the classic judging a book by its cover.
Yeah.
But you may feel vindicated when you watch it. It's like, see, I told you, they're all fruitcakes.
Yep. And they might be.
We're all a little bit fruitcake, though, I think.
Oh, totally.
That's what makes life interesting.
Some are more nutty than others. I mean, I don't know that we really addressed the fact that it's basically a long advert for Goop.
Oh, okay. We do need to address that. One thing that is not okay.
It's not okay.
It's not okay. It's like, you can go to their website and everything that you've seen in the Netflix series is represented there. And it is like they've bought ad space on Netflix and gone, here's our company. A
massively long ad.
This is what we do. I remember people saying the same thing for the Netflix anime documentary. It was like, this is an ad for Netflix anime.
Yeah.
It feels like the same thing for Goop Labs. This is what we do. We're so cool. Come work for us or buy our stuff. You know, we're so edgy and,
and you
with
can
the
have
now.
Awesome experiences.
Spiritual experience with our food and clothing. And that might be true, but it doesn't have a place in a series like this. You should maybe have taken people from other walks of life and not put yourself in it. Yes.
I think, that would be my main criticism. If you could take people who do not have the high-paying, stable economic situation that people in the Goop Lab obviously have, because it's an amazing place to work, and they're all employed. You know, obviously, even successful employed people have had trauma in their lives. So I get that they are a cross-section of the human population, but it's not a very diverse cross-section, if I'm honest.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely 98% women.
Yeah, so there was a bit of a gender bias. There was definitely a bias in terms of they're all beautiful and very slim.
I mean,
and like,
that's one of the things that we're trying to address is what is good looking. But we can't say those guys didn't look thin, perfect, immaculate most of the time.
Yeah.
Even when they were crying, they looked good, you know. Like when I cry, I snot cried. I don't look good.
I don't have a pretty cry face. I don't think you should have a pretty cry face.
Yeah. So again, I don't want
battling.
I don't want to say anything negative towards them as people. I'm sure they're lovely people. It looks like a fantastic work environment. It does. And I've liked Gwyneth's roles in her movies. You know, nothing against them, but as a series, I really feel like that was not okay to do.
Yeah.
Chat to us in the comments below. Let us know your thoughts. What did you think? It's coming out on Friday. Let us know what you think if you get to see it. What do you think of the pseudosciences, and when do they become science?
It's true.
It's an interesting question.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure how to rate this. I don't think we can.
No, not gonna.
I don't think it's one to rate. I think it's one that people are going to form their own bias on.
Totally Marmite.
Yeah, for sure.
Here's my only appeal. Is like, if you do watch it, try and find something positive. Like, try and find something good. I wouldn't say in every episode, because maybe that's not possible. But there are definitely some themes and some things that get touched on that actually make you think.
Yeah.
Like, particularly the
Iceman, I thought, pretty cool. Yeah. Interesting.
I mean, I'm going to research
breathing techniques. Fantastic. Yeah.
Also, don't hate us for reviewing it, because that's the problem with social media. It's like, oh my goodness, how dare you watch that? Well, now we hate you as well. Like, we were just reviewing it, and this is just our opinion, and you're welcome to have a different opinion, but please don't try and crucify us because we have a different opinion.
Yeah. Thanks so much for watching this review. Do chat to us in the comments below. It will be very interesting to see what you have to say about this. But most of all, until next time, remember,
live long and choose it.